This is a celebration video of something that you might have been a part of doing yourself. Stay with me, because whenever I first launched my first Kickstarter, Alcanner's Almanac of all things, I had no idea what was about to happen. I wanted to create a modular and customizable expansion to D&D 5th edition and its rule set to be able to customize it to fit your table instead of this one thing. This one rule set that everybody's supposed to play by didn't really fit right with me. I've always tweaked, even between my own groups, I make changes to the rules, so why not everyone? And that's all it was. It was an idea. It was an idea that I started my channel on. This entire homebrew stuff that I do here on this channel, if you've been here for a long time, you would have seen Alcanner's Almanac coming in the future. Go back to this channel's history of videos and you can start to see long rest systems, resurrection mechanics, combat rules, and fast forward to now when we actually have the arrival of the actual book itself. Yes, I was shipped early copies of the book to make sure that it was good and approved and all that kind of stuff. But I actually bought one and ordered one too, so I could follow along the journey with you guys to see what it's like. You know, quality control and stuff. So we're going to celebrate. I'm going to share some behind the scenes knowledge. Thank everybody that's a part of this. Open up this book and give you a sneak peek of what's coming in the next Kickstarter, but we'll save that for the end. So first off, like I said at the top of the video, you might have been a part of helping this entire thing be possible, because this book started off on Word documents that I had been compiling and making when I first started playing Dungeons and Dragons, really not that long ago, whenever I was like, these rules could be a little different. Then I made a YouTube channel and it grew pretty fast, probably thanks to a lot of you guys that helped that even happen in the first place. And whenever I launched the Kickstarter, I was only at around 18,000 subscribers, and we blew the Kickstarter up to an insane level. It is one of the top Kickstarters in all of Dungeons and Dragons history, and from just little old me with a little old team of people that we were just like, hey, let's do this thing. Most of the people on that team were just volunteers at the time, and now to see where this whole thing has gone to where now I'm full-time, thanks to a lot of this Kickstarter and my patrons for making all this possible, and that you could be one of those people that backed the Kickstarter, one of those people that have supported me on Patreon to give me the time and tools and resources to bring in the people to be able to make something like this happen. Because when I say I had no idea of the shipping logistics and the art people to be able to bring in the beautiful art that's in this book, editing, formatting, layout, all that kind of stuff to literally publish a book. And I literally could not have done it without all of you. I did have a video where I did a huge shout out to every single person along the way who's helped, everyone from my wife that gives me the time to be able to come in here and takes care of the kids and other things while I try and clock in overtime hours to make this happen. Then to my team, who we all make stuff every single month already, to then add on this book onto it is a little crazy. And they dealt with my craziness of me pushing myself to the absolute limits, which also puts them to the absolute limits in a lot of ways too. And I've learned so much about how to do this thing better next time. There's some clunky things about the Kickstarter and different reward tiers that I'm going to do better next time. And as far as logistical rewards and all that kind of stuff, I can't wait to do the next one. And again, we'll save that to the end. So if you help us in any way, from all the people I just talked about to backing the actual book to get it yourself, or the digital versions of any of the different PDFs and stuff that's available on there, or you just watch the videos to help the channel to be able to reach more people, to be able to find the people that did get the book. It's a crazy ecosystem of a community that we've built now, and I absolutely love it, and I absolutely thank you, and I with all my heart. The coolest thing about this entire journey of YouTube, of making a book, of whatever, is this community that rose up and came together so that I can actually interact with and see the people that I'm trying to help play Dungeons and Dragons the best way they possibly can. I can only hope that I've inspired you in some way or improved your game in some single, even a small way. That's a win for me, and this is just awesome. And another thing to add in here that I didn't even think about saying until now is there's been 0 bad reviews for Alcanner's Almanac. I was really, waiting for, worried, checking out, and I honestly just haven't had any, because there are hundreds of rules in this thing, and some of them, and I made the guarantee in one of the earlier videos, I guarantee it, and so far my word has been stuck true to, I guarantee there is something in this book for you. And the feedback I have gotten has been so amazing to see the different parts of the book that y'all are your favorites. Comment, let me know which parts are your favorites as well, because I'm going to try and make future videos expanding on that, highlighting different parts and showing Alcanner's Almanac shine in how I use it. Now, the biggest thing I learned about this whole Kickstarter thing is that Kickstarter in general and how the platform's used is, I have an idea, let's see who likes this idea, then let's do it. But the general expectation of the tabletop community in Kickstarter is to already have pretty much a finished product and then bring it to Kickstarter and see where it goes from there. I did not do that. I had everything. I knew what Alcanner's Almanac was going to be, and I had a Word document chock full of notes and ideas and rules and hundreds of rules and videos made and all this stuff. And then the Kickstarter exploded and I was like, okay. So then I had to write while having 2 other jobs and all this other stuff, right? So I'm going to do it better next time, and I'm going to have the turnaround be a lot quicker than the almost about year it took from start to finish for Cantor's Almanac. Me and the team have already been working on the next Kickstarter, and it is going to be largely close to completion whenever I launch the Kickstarter, and however well this Kickstarter does is going to determine how far we go from there and how much we expand from there. Time out from the present. What I was about to say was a Kickstarter that is no longer going to be the next Kickstarter because of all of the craziness that went down with the OGL and all this other stuff. If you haven't figured it out by now or heard anything recently, the next Kickstarter is 100%, and I just announced it as well, going to be DC20 RPG. I even got the merch right here to prove it. DC20 RPG is a new tabletop roleplay game system that I'm developing and currently, literally right now, and it is going to be the next Kickstarter. But like I said, from all the lessons I've learned, there's some work that has to be done beforehand to get this thing ready for that stage of development. So basically, if you like Cantor's Almanac, which was 5th edition, and an expansion on the base core rules of 5th edition, now DC20 RPG is that, but I don't have to stay solid to the core rules of a game system. I can make my own rules of a game system. And there's plenty of things in Dungeons and Dragons of the core rules that I just think could be done better, and this is my chance to dive in. For example, I made a post on Kickstarter about this, but if you didn't see that, it is a 4-point action system that dynamically and flexibly lets you be able to customize what you do in combat. You can spend these points on or off your turn to be able to defend your allies or do cool combo moves together. And I'm of course removing spell slots and replacing it with a mana point system that is also a dynamic magic system where spells evolve from one smaller version of the spell and grow into bigger ones. A spell might start off as a little firebolt and grow into a scorching ray, etc. Not only are spells going to be dynamic, but martial classes are going to be dynamic and given some love that they are desperately needing of. Every single martial class is going to have maneuvers that they're going to be able to pull off and do some cool stuff in combat. I just got back from playtesting this at a convention, and the feedback was wild, positive, nothing but positivity and excitement for people playing this game for the first time. There's so much more to talk about this, and I will put links in the description to the DC20 RPG playlist down there if you want to find out more. And if you do want to support the development of this project and try and get this into the Kickstarter phase to be able to launch in general, you can check out the link down in the description to the Patreon as well, because it's the patrons who's supporting the development of this game and really getting this thing ready to be able to launch. So patrons will get access to alpha, beta stuff all along the way. And then once we finally get it ready to be able to be printed and publicized, that's whenever the Kickstarter is going to kick in to try and get all the prints going and get it all put together in a physical solid book. So depending on the support of Patreon is going to be how fast we can get this thing up and ready, and then the support from Kickstarter and however well that goes is however big this thing's going to get, with game master guides, adventure modules, monster manuals, spell tomes, starter box sets, and so much more. So the Kickstarter that was going to be the next Kickstarter before all of this was going to be a crafting system where you could take armors from different monsters and be able to change them into weapons and armor, and a gold economy system of how you can buy and spend gold and how gold is an important resource and how you can manage it in your own games. All of that is not going to go away. It is just going to be put into the spot of DC20 RPG. It is going to be built for that, and the crafting system is going to be there, and everything's going to be built for DC20 RPG. And depending on the support that's generated for that, and if that turns into its own Kickstarter that happens after that, whatever, that could also be turned and be able to be modularly tweaked and changed for D&D 5th edition if enough interest for that is available. But I really have to take this opportunity now to launch this game system in the time in this landscape of TTRPGs and all the aftermath of everything that's been going on, to launch my own tabletop roleplay game system and see how it goes. And then after that, we can make adjustments and change and see how things are going. And I'm going to be looking for the feedback on this next Kickstarter and as we go on. All right, now I'm sending it back to myself. If you want to stay up to date on when any of this is going live, top of the description is going to be a link to my Kickstarter profile. And once I post another project, you'll be alerted right when the project goes live. And if you go to my website, thedungeoncoach.com, you can sign up for the newsletter. And trust me, I don't send things out often, but when I do, it's big stuff. And I definitely was sending out an announcement there for once it's released and announced. Now, the only thing I want to say about a time slot for this thing is, again, I want to make sure that this thing is in a really great spot before we launch the Kickstarter. So now let's open this book and see what it's like. Whew. That is secure. Ooh. Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. So many people's hard blood, sweat, and tears went into this, and just even looking at how I wrote a lot of words, just looking at these pages to see like, oh, I typed out all these words, and then my team went over all these words and edited all these words and all this art and all the formatting and all this. it's all crazy to see it all come together. So stay tuned. I have some big stuff coming. I really just wanted to make this video as a thank you, as a capstone to the final send-off of Al Kanter's Almanac of All Things and a bright, big future. See what's coming. Stay creative. Think outside the box. Peace.